The state of Michigan has been an automaker's hub since Henry Ford crafted his Model T, as Ford, Chevrolet, and Chrysler were all founded and currently operate in the Great Lakes state. With its roots into stock cars, the Michigan Speedway was built in 1968 and has been a testament for speed over its 50-year history. Its first ever race created 35 lead changes as Cale Yarborough claimed the victory after 500 miles. With that said, manufacturer Mercury was the big victor, leading 174 laps in clean air. Back in the day, win on Sunday, sell on Monday was a big deal, and for the automotive company, certainly they got a great boost from winning the race. Since then, the 2-mile oval has seen speeds over 200 miles per hour, and Chevrolet, Ford, and Toyota are still competing for bragging rights in the Motor City. Unfortunately, the racing product has been lacking, as the past few events at the Michigan track have been a snoozer. The 2018 Consumers Energy 400 is the latest example, as outside of Ty Dillon's car exploding into turn 3, nothing interesting took place during the event. Kevin Harvick and the Ford team put together a bushwhacking performance onto the field, leading to 108 of the 200 circuits out front. So with the Firekeepers Casino 400 coming up this weekend, I figured we should look at the events that put fireworks on the track. Great racing at Michigan Speedway has occurred often during the 2000s. So we're going to take a look at events that achieve glory and entertain NASCAR's faithful. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for brand new content, as this should be an entertaining video like the 3 races featured in this presentation. The date is June 18, 2006, and it marks as the 15th event on the NASCAR schedule. On a rainy day in the Great Lakes of Michigan, 43 cars were ready to tear up the speedway for an advertised distance of 200 laps. Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, and Darrell Waltrip were ready to call the event, which had promise coming into the weekend. Casey Kane was having a breakout campaign for Evernham Motorsports, and he would start the race from the pole in the number 9 Click Dodge Charger. He would lead the first circuit before a hard-charging Jeff Gordon made a move for the top position. After missing the chase in 2005, the Brilliant Flames were getting extinguished for the second season in a row, and the Neon 24 needed a great run to build momentum. Steve Letarte and company went on to lead 50 laps, which was the most on the afternoon. One competitor to Jeff Gordon, however, was Mother Nature herself. Rain would halt the race on lap 11 and lap 55, as she proved time and time again she was not a fan of Michigan racing. Once the race got back going, chaos and carnage ensued after Mother Nature's fury. The defending champ Tony Stewart was taken out of the race by Jeff Green, as the orange Home Depot Chevrolet collided with the white paint of the turn 3 wall. What made matters worse was his impending shoulder issues, but no harm was done, as he would return to the speedway the following weekend. For his 2006 season, however, it would overgo a downward spiral, and the 20 team would later have a postseason subtracted from championship contention. After the collision, while teammate Kyle Busch gained some clean air, Jeff Gordon and Jimmie Johnson battled hard to get back to the front. This caused Jeff Gordon to get mad at Jimmie Johnson, as they were racing each other too aggressively, and he felt like it was affecting their chances to win the race. This also resulted in some contact with the wall for the 24 machine, but luckily the damage wasn't severe enough to cause issues. More wrecks took place in the middle of the pack, as this time Jamie McMurray and J.J. Ailey made contact into turn 2. Old man Ken Schrader received heavy nose damage to his Ford Taurus and would be forced to grab his walker and retire to the garage for the remainder of the afternoon. Front row Joe also slid by, but he was able to continue with his strong U.S. Army Chevrolet. Meanwhile, the Wisconsin native Matt Kenseth also featured a wild race driving the Carhartt Ford Taurus. After starting in the 20th position, the 17 was fighting hard to get towards the front, and on lap 67, the car spun out onto the apron. He came into the day as the season points leader, but with a mediocre outing, Jimmie Johnson took over the top spot after the race's conclusion. He went on to finish the race in 13th. The halfway mark nearing, a few new contenders raced towards the lead group. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Carl Edwards, and Brian Vickers would take the clean air, which at the end of the day added up to 17 lead changes among 10 different drivers. It was very easy for cars to catch one another and make a clean pass, which kept a storm swirling around the top spot. Sensing the impending weather, Reed Sorensen and the 41 team played a bit of strategy, taking 2 tires and fuel to grab the top spot. The rookie, however, would have a target on his back for the restart, with Kasey Kahne, Carl Edwards, and Greg Biffle with 4 fresh Goodyears restarting behind. Although the team got an energizing jump, Kasey Kahne made the move and checked out from the lead group. The Georgia native would finish in the 5th position, but I would consider this a win with how bad his debut campaign was. Unfortunately, the race would get red flagged at lap 129, and despite the intentions to go back racing, Mother Nature would keep applying force too strong for NASCAR to overcome. With no cars on the track, the vortex theory could not come into play. The race was declared official, and Kasey Kahne with the fast 9 car went to victory lane, marking as the 4th win through the first 15 events. This also marked back-to-back wins for Dodge as a manufacturer, as Jeremy Mayfield won the August race in 2005. Now, while heavy precipitation took away an exciting finish, the condensed event was still fun to watch. It had some great strategy, some great lead changes, and it had a little bit of drama mixed into it. Who knows, it could have been for the better, and to end on this note, as the pace for this event might have been altered going back to green. Michigan Speedway also played host to the 23rd race of the 2012 campaign, as the Pure Michigan 400-mile race was something special that year. A solid 83,000 spectators jam-packed the grandstands on a hot summer afternoon, with Alan Bestwick, Dale Jarrett, and Andy Petrie calling the race from the press box. For the first half of the race, old man Mark Martin was dreaming up a 6th career win at Michigan, as the Aaron Stream machine led 54 laps from the pole position. Things are going to be good, and that lucky dog is going to go to victory lane here in Michigan. That luck, however, was not with the 55 team, as a bizarre crash exiting turn 4 tore up the Dream Machine. Bobby Labonte hit the bullseye on one Pablo Montoya's nose, and as the white and blue 55 tried to slow down, he spun onto pit lane. Unfortunately, you can't drive 55 down pit road, and as the side of Mark Martin's car was destroyed in the process, and it essentially ended his race. This was a nasty crash, but luckily all crew members and the driver walked away without injury. With Mark Martin retiring to the recliner, a few contenders emerged, battling for the Michigan victory. The race saw 26 changes for the lead, which was the highest for an August Michigan race since 2006. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Clint Bowyer, Jimmie Johnson, and Greg Biffle looked to have dominant cars of the race, as these championship hopefuls were flexing their muscles a few weeks before the chase. On the other hand, 13 cars suffered DNFs from mechanical failures, including a few strong drivers and contenders. Defending champion Tony Stewart and Chase Bubble driver Jeff Gordon suffered race-ending engine failures and would finish well outside the top 25. While smoke was locked into the chase, this poor finish affected the 24 team in the standings, dropping to 15th, a full race outside the top 10 in points. He also exited the speedway 30 points behind Ryan Newman for the second wildcard spot, so a must-win scenario seemed likely for the 4-time champion. With that said, later Jeff Gordon would complete one of NASCAR's greatest comebacks at Richmond and clinch a spot in the 12-driver postseason fight. Meanwhile, Hendrick Motorsports teammate Jimmie Johnson was looking to improve on his resurgent season, as he had 3 wins on the campaign entering the race. After taking the lead from Brad Keselowski with just 9 laps to go, his misfortunate legacy at Michigan was coming to an end. Just a few solid laps and the 48 will race straight into victory circle. This is where the HMS engine department fails on the bright stage, and Jimmie Johnson and Chad can now suffer heartbreak just like Detroit Lions fans during football season. The 48 would have to retire with just 5 laps to go and finish in the 27th position on an otherwise promising day. With a late race restart, it was between the Dodge of young blood Brad Keselowski and a Ford for veteran Greg Biffle. With 2 laps remaining in the race, the leaders were side by side before the Chevrolet of Dale Jr. shoved Biffle into turn 1. Bad Brad tried to make a move, but luck stuck with the Biff and rewarded him with his second win of 2012. With that victory, the 3M machine gained the points lead, and Matt Pusha and company continued a solid campaign for the Cat in the Hat. This would also be manufacturer Ford's first win at the Michigan Speedway since August 2008, where Carl Edwards backflipped his way to victory. In the end, this race offered some quality passing, and the chase picture also heated up the circuit on that Sunday afternoon. The great finish and executed restart by the Biff capped off the event, and this is one of the better Michigan races in the 2010s. In terms of the Generation 6 era, the 2014 Quicken Loans 400 didn't tax boredom onto NASCAR's faithful. The 15th race was called by Adam Alexander, Kyle Petty, and Wally Dallenbach, and the crowd was ready for some racing on this lovely Father's Day weekend. Kevin Harvick started from the pole position after turning a 204-mile-per-hour lap in qualifying and went on to lead the race's first 18 laps. While the 4-car was fast, Jeff Gordon was driving towards the front and was looking for his second win of 2014. The season points leader led the charge early, and teammates Jimmie Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Kasey Kahne competed up front for the duration of the race. One team missing from the lead pack, however, was Roush Fenway Racing, as its 3-car operation struggled throughout the race. Carl Edwards, Greg Biffle, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. failed to contend, with the highest finishing car taking the checkered flag in 20th position. Considering Greg Biffle was the defending winner, this was one of the first strong signs of Roush's performance falling off a cliff. Things were not looking good for the Cat in the Hat. During the first half, the Michigan event saw its fair share of incidents, as not even one lap into the race, Brian Vickers went up the racetrack and spun out. Travis Quaffle, having committed to the apron, made heavy contact with the Aaron's ride, essentially ending both of their days early in the going. Meanwhile, rookie sensation Kyle Larson got loose exiting turn 2, and he collided with Martin Truex Jr. before sliding down the racetrack. Fortunately, the 42 car would rebound for another solid top 10 run, and the target team was finally showing it had a legit driver behind the wheel. Something lacking from the Gen 6 car as of late has been lead changes, but the Quicken Loans 400 saw a great mix of passes and battles for position. 25 changes among 13 drivers provided some transitions at the front and kept things interesting to say the least. With that said, Jimmie Johnson was able to adjust his Cobalt Tools Chevrolet SS, and it made the 48 team led by Chad Knaus a tough team to beat. After a cycle of pit stops, the team gained the lead and never looked back. The Michigan misfortunate legacy was finally broken. All those years of running out of fuel or blowing an engine in the closing laps were over, as the Lowe's team was lifting the hardware after 400 fought laps. As for the manufacturers battle, Chevrolet absolutely dominated the day, and this marked as their first win since June 2012, where Junior Nation rejoiced after 4 years of losing. As for Jimmie Johnson, this win marked his third win in the last 4 races, as after a sluggish start, the 48 team was catching fire to capture that 7th championship. While this race wasn't absolutely spectacular, we saw some great lead changes out front, and it at least showed the Generation 6 car could be competitive at a track like Michigan. So there you have it, 3 Michigan races in recent memory that were entertaining to watch. We'll see if the new Aero package can work its magic and make up for the boring Pocono snooze fest 1 week ago. Honestly, seeing how the Truck Series has put on some great races here in Michigan, I think the race will provide that same excitement as well. We should see about 20 to 25 lead changes, and maybe a crasher photo finish will make the Firekeepers Casino 400 a race for the ages. If it sucks, at least it won't be the boring Pocono single file snooze fest we saw last weekend. So anyways, this is NRF signing out, and just remember, life's a beach and then you drive.